Hello everyone, this is Bev from Art by Bedell, and I want to say happy Thanksgiving to everybody. May you and all of your family be blessed and enjoy your day and your time together. I have this project I'd like to share with you today. It is a folio that is going to go in the center fold of my signature. So if I have, this is a signature, it's not done, but here's my center of this one, and I have this folio that I have made. So what it would be is you have the front cover and it flips open, and then on the inside we have a flip out on the left side with some coffee stained copy paper for journaling on, and then we have this pocket here, and then that closes back up, and then on the right side we have the same thing, some coffee stained copy paper for journaling and more pockets here, and then of course then your page will flip closed and you'll just have this little cluster here. Now the one that we're doing today is constructed the same as this one, but the papers are a little different. So to get started with this, we need to make our base, this part here, this long part, for our folio. What I have done is, as you see here, I've taken a green piece of the printables and one of the other printables from the kit, which will be listed below. And so I have chosen gifts, packages, and then this Christmas Eve page here. So what I want to do is to glue this one print down on top of the long print that we have here. Now this is just an 8.5 by 11 page that I have cut in half. And I am going to take my Yoo-Hoo glue stick and I'm going to run a line of it right down along this edge here that will take this one and lay it right on top. Now I'm not going very far in, say maybe 1/2 inch to 3/4 inch overlap. I want to keep as much as this as I can so that when I make my hinges for my flip out pages, which are right here, this is a hinge here for my flip out, and then over here we have a hinge here, a bigger hinge. Now it really doesn't matter which one's bigger, how they're done, just as long as in the end you have a page that is this size to fit in your journal. And actually, yes, and one needs to be this side. I don't mind my pages being a little taller than my journal pages, but I don't like them to be wider than my main journal page. So to create our hinges for this, I want the hinge on this side to be smaller than the one on the other side because I don't want to lose very much of this print. So I'm just going to fold that over approximately about 1.5 inches like so, and make our hinge like this. Okay, then I will take this and I will determine like the width I need here of my page. So this is my journal page. This is as wide as any of them are going to be. I will take the width of that, and yours is going to differ because we all make different size journals. This one is 6 3/4 inches. So 6.5 inches is about what I want to do for the width of my pages. So I will take and I will go 6.5 inches is about right here. Make a little crease, and that's where I'm going to fold my page. So then I'll fold my page over. And that's the front cover. And then for a hinge, I have what is left, and so I'll just fold that back over like this. And now I should have a page that fits inside my journal as far as width-wise goes. And it won't stick out beyond. If it's a little shorter, that's okay. I just don't want to go beyond. So now that we have that figured out, we have our hinges. This will be the hinge for the right side, and this is the hinge for the left side, and they're approximately the same. I will take and add my pages to this. I am going to add one 8.5 by 11 piece of coffee stained copy paper to each side. I'll begin by folding it in half, and I have already gone around the edges of my papers with my Distress Oxide Vintage Photo ink and my applicator tool. And all I do is get some ink on my tool and just hit the edges like that. And I have done all the pre-inking so that we don't have to be watching somebody do a simple task like that pretty much I think we all know how to do. Now, the next part is I want to glue this into here. So then the hinge on top of this page. And I'm going to take my glue stick again, and I'm going to apply some glue right down along the whole hinge. Now, you have a couple options here. You can do the whole thing like I have done just right here. I'm going to butt my folded edge of my coffee stained copy paper right up to the edge of my hinge, fold my hinge over, and secure it down by pressing it. Now, if you only glued the top and the bottom, then you would have a little tuck spot here. On the other side, I want to do the same thing. Take an 8.5 by 11 piece of coffee stained copy paper, and then I'm going to open up this flap on this side, put some glue down the whole flap, butt my edge of my folded piece of coffee stained copy paper right up to the edge where I folded on my hinge, and secure that down. Now, as you'll notice, because the printables have a white border on the edge, I've had to trim the white border off, and that left these pages a little higher. You can leave them that way if you want, or you can cut them off. I'm going to quickly go over to my paper cutter and cut that off. Now that I've done that, of course, I have cut off the part where I inked them up. So I'll want to go over and hit all those edges once again with my ink. All right, that creates our base, and pretty much all this needs now is to be decorated. I am going to open this up and start on my flaps right here. And to do those, I will take a piece of the printable that's in the kit, and the printable that I have chosen, I know my arms are just lovely to have to see, but I am reaching forward to see if I have one more of those printables of like the kind that I ripped, and it doesn't look like I do, but here's part of the page anyhow. And all I did was picked out this piece and then this piece and tore them off so that I have a piece to go on top of one of my pages and another piece to go on top of the other. This is too wide, so I will choose to tear this side down. I want most of the flower in there, and then I will go ahead then and add ink to that one. Over on this side, we have the right amount. Then I'm going to take just some Yoo-Hoo glue and add some glue all around this whole piece and glue it to the top of my page. And we'll just have a nice cluster, nice header right at the top. And do that to both sides. There we go. Now, I have really been enjoying lately adding some of this packaging. You'll get it in, I don't know, you'll get it in Amazon packages. You get it pretty much any box that's been mailed to you. There's usually packaging of some sort. And this has this brown craft paper packaging. So I want to add some of this to my project. And for this side, I just need to trim this down just a little. It's just a little too long. Just like that, and glue that down. Now you can ink up the sides of this as you want. The Distress Photo, the Vintage Photo, does not leave much color on the craft paper, the packaging. But it does leave some. So then I'll take and I will just tear off another piece of my packaging and decide, let's see, which direction do I want this to go? I think I'll go up something like this for this one. So I'll need to tear off this edge and then put some glue on the back of that and follow right along up there like this. Okay, and then I just need to add a couple little focal points on there. And I have my kit of the ephemera, and it's all cut out, and I just need to add it on. So I will choose something here that will look really cute on there. And how about on Dasher, on Dancer, on Prancer and Vixen, on Comet and Cupid and Donner and Blitzen. There we go. And how about we add a little label to that also, so we have that. And then on this side over here, let's add, we could add the house. That would be nice with a little label on that that says Season's Greetings. Again, these have been pre-inked, and just because we're getting into a little bit more texture here, I'm going to add my art glitter glue because I can get around the edges of these smaller pieces closer with that and get this stuck right down, and then that'll finish the fronts of our flip outs here. Easy peasy, guys. These papers, these digitals make it all so easy when everything is all coordinated. Now I did pick out, I believe just 2, maybe there's even 3 collections that I've been using in this one. And then we'll put that right there. And then on this other side, we'll glue down the cabin in the woods. I would not mind spending Thanksgiving in a cabin in the woods. That would be really, really homey and really, really an awesome thing to do. There we go. But then I would have to spend the whole next week too to recuperate, and what a better place to recuperate from all the fun that we've had on Thanksgiving in a cabin in the woods all by yourself, right? There we go. So I'm liking the way this is turning out. Now, so for the inside, which is the next part that I want to do, let me think about this. I have to think about where my stitching is going to be. Okay, I did not do stitching on the outsides of it, but you need to be thinking about your stitching and where that's going to be so that you don't close up an option for the stitching. Now, I like to stitch on my pockets just because we do use those pockets, so I like to do stitching on them. So I make sure that I get that done first. Now, this is really white, and white is okay. I don't mind, but it just, to me, is just too bold for what we have going on here with all the coffee staining. Now, I could coffee stain this too, but in order to do that, because this is a printable, and because I print with an inkjet printer, it would bleed to the outside. Sometimes I really like that effect. I'm not wanting that effect today. So I'm just going to take my ink applicator and my vintage ink, and I'm just going to add ink to the edges of this. Now I don't have to do the whole inside because I'm going to be layering some paper down on this. But I'll just go along this, just like this, making sure that I do up and down the folds where it's folded, because we'll have one piece here and one piece there. Now, you can always go back and add more if you want, if you don't think that you've got it well enough the first time. But this is looking pretty good. A few crinkles in the paper are not going to hurt a thing. Going to add more interest to it, which is even better, right? There we go. So the next part I want to do is to add the papers that I have chosen to put here. And what I have chosen for there are 2 of the prints from a second kit that I've incorporated into this project. And it has winter birds on it. So I need to tear this down. As you can see, it's too big. So I'm just going to go along all the edges, all 4 edges. Well, actually, I only need to do 3 because the one where I tore this paper in half obviously is already done, but we will tear down all of these and see how close we are to being where we want to be. It's kind of difficult when you have to tear off something like a bird. We want to keep the birds. Okay, so that's going to be that part. We'll save these pieces for another project, and then we'll take this one and tear this one down. And then after I have them all torn down, I am going to take my Distress Vintage Photo ink and ink up all of the edges. All right, there I have that. And now I'm going to make sure that I have everything stained up, and that to me is good enough. And I'm going to add Yoo-Hoo glue to the back of these pages and glue them down. Next part of this project is creating pockets. And I have chosen some of the pink snowflake paper to use for my pockets. And I have taken half a sheet and tore that in half and made 2 pockets. I have inked up the outside edge, and then I'm going to scrunch the top edge. To scrunch that, I just grab a hold of it and just poke and pull and fold until you get something like what you think you might want. That's good. And I'm going to do it on this side. I'm doing it on the 2 sides that are closest to the center of our folio, like that. Now, I am going to sew those down, but before I do that, I want to add my layering on here. I'm going to start with a piece of the packaging on both sides. And glue that down on the right-hand corner for the page on the right side, and glue it on the left-hand corner for the page on the left side. And I want to add some of this ribbon I got at Dollar Tree. And that might be a little too tall on that side. We'll just trim some of that off, like that. Put a little bit of tacky glue behind it. I'm just going to put a little in the center part here. And press this down, and the same on this one. Then I want to find 2 pieces of ephemera out of our basket to put on top of these. Let's see what we have. We have that one we could use, and we have that one we could use. These have not been inked up around the edge, so that's the first thing I want to do. There we go. I'm going to put that one there. A little bit of glue along the outside, 2 sides, 2 short sides, and the bottom, just a stream of glue so we can keep it as a pocket. Hold that down. We'll be stitching this too, so we just need to get it to hold in place for a moment. And this one again, the 2 short sides and the bottom long side, and also hold that down. And then I'm going to, on the whole pocket part, let's see if we can get this to stay for just a few minutes here. Paper clip this on so it doesn't come off. And the same with this one. And that's just temporary, because the first thing I want to do is take it over to the sewing machine, and I'm going to take our crease, our crinkle here that we scrunched up, and I'm going to run some stitching back and forth on this. All right, our pockets are created, and on the fold I did some stitching back and forth here, some messy stitching, and then I stitched around the pocket on the 3 sides. Now we had added a little bit of glue to hold this webbing down, and we want to go in there with something, anything actually, and just loosen that up to make sure that it's not sticking. So we have a pocket there, and then I've done the same on this one also, and just loosen that up. Okay, now I'm going to add some glue on 3 sides and glue it to my page. It's like this. Both of them. And then before I do any stitching here, I want to turn it over and make sure there's nothing in the way that I wouldn't want to ruin to do my stitching. And as you can see, there isn't on either side. It's good to do some stitching. So I'm going to stitch my pocket down. All right, our pockets are glued down, or stitched down. And you don't have to do stitching on any of this. You can just glue it down if you want. I like to do the stitching. I want to make a couple little tags or something for the inside. I've chosen to make a couple little cards. I've taken an 8.5 by 11 piece of coffee stained copy paper, cut it in half, inked up around the edges. I'm going to take those and fold them in half. And then I'm going to do the same thing with crinkling the edge, the top corner, crumping the top corner, keeping in line with the pocket here. I'm going to do that to both of them. And crumple the top corner. And then I'm going to take my line stamp that I use for my journaling lines. Move this out of the way for just a moment. And my vintage photo, and here's my stamp with the lines, and ink that up. I'm going to open these up, Actually, I shouldn't fold that down yet. And then I'm going to put lines for journaling on all 4 sides of my little note paper here. So I'm going to do that front and back on both of these. So I have that done, and I've also taken it over to the sewing machine and stitched my fold, my crumpled part, and put some ink on it. Then I have chosen a couple pieces for the focal point from our kit, and I've chosen these 2 foxes with some little words. And then that's what's going to go in our pockets. And we have these little pieces of paper for notes, for journaling. Now, inside the pockets here, these smaller pockets, I'm going to take my little basket again and see what we have. And I'm thinking maybe some tags. Here's, what do we have here? Nope, that's 2 of them. Trying to find something a decent size, actually. So we have these 2 little ones here. So we'll use those. Those are cute. We have three of them. Do we have 4 of them? We do not have 4 of them. So instead, I will do those 2 little ones, and then the 2 bird tags. There's 1 bird tag. And I will ink up around the edges of all of these. Then I will take my crocodile, and I'm going to use the, let's see, the 3/16 inch side and poke holes right where they're designated on these tags. And then I have some gold ribbon. Cut a piece, fold it in half, slip it down through my hole, and then open it up and put the tails through. I'll do that to all 4. All right, so then we'll take one of the bigger ones and put it in our pocket, and then slip one of the smaller ones in beside it on each side. So that completes the inside. We have our little piece of note paper and 2 tags, a pocket. Very, very nice. Flip our flips over. We have our headers on top of here. Now we are finished with our front because I don't feel that needs anything else done to it. And then on the back, we need to add a little cluster down here on this side. So I'm just going to take a couple pieces of the paper that's in the kit, some scraps that I have laying around here. And I know my arms are in the way again. I apologize. I like this green, so let's take a tear on that. And I want it to be about that high. I want to tear off this. Nope, that's not a white edge. That's part of the paper. We are going to ink up the edge on that. And then let's find another piece. How about a scrap of this would be nice. Ink that up. And then glue them down. I want a piece of ledger paper. Here we go. I'm going to ink up the edges of that. And then the piece of ephemera that I want to put on here is that deer. There he is. So I'm going to turn my ledger paper this way and glue that down. Use my Yoo-Hoo, not my Yoo-Hoo, use my art glitter so I can get all along every little piece of him and get him glued down so he's down nice and securely. Okay, now that I have the glue on him, I want him to have something to stand on. So I'm not going to press his feet down yet. I'm going to get a piece of this packaging and glue that underneath where he's standing. And he's not floating. He actually has something to stand on. There we go. There he is. Let's find a word out of our ephemera that we can add on to there. We're going to add candy canes. Put a little bit of glue all around the outside edges of that. And right there we go. How cute is that? There you have it. Your folio is just, oops, we forgot the ribbon, the lace. I'm going to take my tacky glue It's dripping out all over everything. And put a drizzle right down where the seams meet of the paper on the front. And I'll take my lace and I'll add that right there. And press that down, squeeze out the glue and spread it out. And then the other place I wanted to have some was on the back. So let's open this up and put a stream of glue right down along here also. All right, guys, there it is. Here's our front. And then our flip out on the left. Our pocket in the center. Flip out on the right. And our pocket here. And then our back side. Little folio for the center of our signatures. I have 2 of them. I have 2 signatures in the journal. And I forgot to remind you about the Good Black Friday sale that's going on over on my Etsy page. There are, I think, like maybe 3 or 4 items that I put on sale at 10% off. And it starts Friday and it goes through till Monday. Thanks for watching. You have a wonderful day and happy Thanksgiving. Hugs to you all. Bye now.